Yeah, folks, it's time for another video. Yeah, let's talk about these white guys, man. This DJ Vlad, man. Most of us know who he is on social media. I just watching a video, man, several videos. But, people talk about the Kendrick Lamar song. And I just listened to how he was talking about it. Like he was reluctant to give it props and all that stuff, man. But that's the thing with white people, man. Like Neely Fuller say, man, like our black people's relationship, or I should say non-white people's relationship with white people is tacky, trashy, and or terroristic, man. It gets no better than tacky, man. Like you can kind of understand why a white person wouldn't not like us about Kendrick Lamar. It's like all of us, man, in the world is living a lie, man. Like we going about tiptoeing around the race issue, man. And you have a lot of white people out here, man, like the DJ Vlads of the world. They like to try to minimize racism, like, and you can kind of say, okay, well, maybe these white people don't really know about it, and to some degree it's true, but not in the sense you think it is. What I mean by that is, it's like we're all born into this system, man. Like racism, white supremacy is all white people know, man. And I've said this before. I'm trying to get a little more deep with it, man. I want y'all to feel what I'm talking about, man. As black people, I'm speaking to y'all in particular, man. Non-white people in particular, I should say. Because this applies to all non-white people. Even though there's hierarchies in the racial system. But if you're not white, you're not going to really benefit from it. But the thing is, man, you got white people out here, man, they real convincing when they talk about how the race issue is not really a problem. And you got black people like Ari Spears, who goes on DJ Vlad shows talking about things is not racial all the time. But things are always racial. Things are racial first and foremost, then they branch off. Even if they don't seem like they're racist or race-based. It always begins with that. And you can't rule that out. Because that's where the bias comes from. That's the main source of all biases between people. The race issue. Because the race is not just about skin color or phenotype, it's about cultural aspects. Most races, if not all races, have a general cultural aspect about them, or aspects about them. They're known for doing certain things a certain way. White people is known for collecting knowledge and archiving it. That's what got them on top. Black people, we're known for our music, our social culture. Every race has certain aspects about it. Really, it seems like it's only really mainly two aspects to culture on this planet. And you got the white side of culture and the black side of culture. Everything else is in between. But the thing is, man, you got white people, they try to convince us that the race issue is not a problem. They even kind of argue with you, they always try to make us feel like we're saying something stupid or we don't know what we're talking about. But that's because they themselves have been born in a system where all they know is the race system, meaning all they know is themselves as being on top. Don't y'all ever think about the things around you? I'm talking to you non-black people. Some of you white people may understand it. Y'all see the race issue, speaking to y'all white people, but it's not a problem to y'all because that's all y'all know. It's normalized to you. You're the other end of the whip. You are the ones holding the whip, and y'all don't see it because that's how the system is set up. But the thing is, with black people, man, we see it. And we too are used to the abuse factor. Don't y'all look at movies, man? Don't y'all see how many white faces Haven't y'all grown up seeing all these white cartoons, man? White cartoons, white toys, white faces in the movies. When Will Smith tried to make a movie After Earth with his son, calling the shots in the future, they panned the movie. The movie is no worse than it, or no worse than any other movie that came out. The movie was actually pretty good. See, from my perspective, as a black man looking at a futuristic movie with a black father and son in the future. Look at Star Trek, man. Look at all these futuristic science movies and shows, man. They hardly have any black people in them, if at all. Well, they don't see us in the future. If we were such a melting pot, our entertainment would reflect that. You shouldn't have to force yourself to put black people, or quote unquote minorities, in movies and shows, man. It would be normal. It would be just so normal to include everybody. If they're a good actor or actress, why wouldn't you put brown skin, dark skin? I ain't gonna say brown, black, but I don't want people getting confused. Because technically nobody's really black, but I can't say brown because they'll fuck around and think I'm talking about some kind of imaginary Mexican or something. Brown skin, the elusive brown person we never see. They just say brown to water down the black. Black and brown. Just say black and let that marinate. But yeah, don't y'all see? Just look at the world, man. Look at all the so-called inventors. Well, black people invent nothing. Why would you trust as non-white people? Why should we really trust what white people tell us about history, man? As black people, FBA, we can see how white people go about erasing history, man. They like to take us out of everything that we invent. So why wouldn't they have done that in the past? It's just simple logic, man. See, white people have had this thing where they think we believe them, or we supposed to believe them when they tell us about things. They said the data, this and that, the data, this person said this, has been verified. This is the truth, man. Our scientists told us this is what it is. They're scientists. Why should we believe them? You ever ask yourself that, non-white people? Why should we believe these white people just because they tell us something about so-called ourselves? Why should we believe what they tell us, man? It's not that I'm trying to cause confusion or dissension. Just ask, man, like, who made them the heroes of our story? Oh, because they they got the nukes. Why would the people who have the most devastating weapons be labeled as the heroes? Why would they be keepers of peace? Think about that. They got all the most devastating weaponry. What kind of person thinks of these weapons, man? To blow people up, to poison people, biological weapons. Think about that. A warmongering race of people would think like that. A culture of warmongers would think like that. That's what took us by surprise. Like if you was an extraterrestrial and you wanted to find the most peaceful version of the humans on this planet, you would look at the ones who have the least devastating weaponry. And who knows, maybe they're warmongers too. But you wouldn't survive very long being a warmonger as advanced technological species. You would have to have a rigid system of justice. See, that's where a lot of white people, man, they gonna mess themselves up. If we ever have first contact, we probably have, and they probably ain't really contact us, knowing what the white people are on this planet are like, or the other, nuclear capable races are like. They probably don't want to blow us up. So they just avoid contact. That's the most logical way of dealing with hostile enemies, or enemies with a potential xenophobic kind of mindset. Like, oh, these people, man, we contact them, we end up going to war with these people. We had to blow them, we had to make their rock an uninhabitable planet. So we just leave them alone, just watch them. Maybe they'll get it in the future. You know, maybe they'll come together and finally understand in the future. We just go by here every now and then, see what they're doing. If they're getting too out of hand, we're going to have to send our agents who look like some of them to kind of calm it down. So they want to blow themselves to bits. Maybe not. Maybe they would let humanity blow ourselves to bits. But it'll be those who have the nuclear capabilities. Notice how no one wants to allow the non-white races really to hold nuclear weapons, man. They especially don't allow black people, black African leaders, quote unquote leaders, to develop nuclear weaponry. And truth be told, since that's the way it is, man, it would be best for black people, some black African nations, to hold nuclear capabilities. Not with no white person in the lab or, you know, in the government. We gotta develop our own, man, because that's the balance of power. We all gotta have every race gotta have the capabilities to blow up the planet, man, in order for justice to be in the balance, man. Everything is one-sided. But this is a really broad and specific discussion on race, really. I start off with DJ Vlad, but he just one little piece in the puzzle. You know, a lot of black people go on DJ Vlad because Vlad talks in a way, you know, that the black people are used to believing. Like, it's that mental thing. It's like, I don't see it like that. And that's the one thing about me, man. Like, over the years, when white people talk to me, I don't just trust them off rip. Actually, I look at them with distrust. Some things they say, I can give them the benefit of the doubt, but I don't just blindly trust what they say. I always reflect on it, and first and foremost, I always know that a lot of white people don't really like to give black people help, the kind of help that we can help ourselves. And some of them do. Every now and then you meet some white people, they give us a nugget of useful knowledge, and we can run with that. But they don't really do it to a cluster of black people. They only give a handful of black people useful knowledge. And some people might be thinking or saying to themselves, well, they don't want black people to rise up. It ain't about rising up. Like, this system of white supremacy depends on the haves and the have-nots. They like to say it's about class. No, class is secondary to the race part. Racism is a form of a class system, but it's stronger. It's the race element, and then you got little subcategories, and that's classism fits in the subcategories. The racism is the glue that ties everything together. Because it was just classism. That's why they have. Well, that's what. Let me get off this. That's why there haven't really been no civil wars like that in the United States. If it was just classism, that can happen. That would happen. The racism, that buffers down the classism. That's more powerful than the class system. But even though the classism is still here, the racism, you know, when a white man is disgruntled with the world or with his or her plight in life, they just look at black people, man, see how we doing. Oh, the black people's not really doing too well. At least I'm not them. At least I'm not them. Mindset goes a long way. See, that's what white people need to understand. When you're doing bad and you see somebody else doing bad, or you know somebody else You don't see they statues plastered all over the place. You don't see them in the movies being the heroes and heroines. Say, hey, we still in charge. We still the boss. Yeah, I'm a white man, I'm a white woman. I'm struggling out here in my system, which is a higher standard than everybody else's system. At least I'm not doing as bad as them, and that kind of lifts them up. That keeps them going. That keeps a lot of white people going. That's what the racism system does for them. You know, you got some white people saying they invented all these things. No, they took things, they archived things, and they gave themselves credit for it and built on it and stacked on it. Yeah, they invented a lot of things, but they didn't do it all alone. They didn't do it by themselves, man, because like I said before, the genius level intellect, that's not the bulk of any society, man. That's a small, minute population. So you got white people saying what they've invented, and that white person telling you what they invented. They didn't invent anything. 9 times out of 10, somebody smarter than them, some genius, some strange behaving white person, you know, eccentric white person did it. And they got help for some eccentric black people. There's like those people, man, those genius level intellect kinds of people, man. They're not really, they kind of like, they behavior, man. It's like they think so differently out the box that they kind of struggle with conforming to society standards, how it is in every society. They just stand out people. People think they're crazy. They don't understand how they think. Those people, man. And we don't really see those people, man. You know why? Because they're in the lab. They're in the lab going to work, doing things, and they just push this technology out and put instruction manuals to it. And then, you know, they teach it to a lot of white people, and we see them building things. You're like, oh, these white people are smart. Yeah, but somebody taught it to them. You ever think about that? Who taught these white people how to do these things? Somebody smarter than them did. And if you're working for a white company, they just take your inventions and file it under their company. The CEO is white. Guess who get the credit? All right, folks, let me come back to this later. I gotta pick up.